What's up?
What's going on? Man, Johnny, I'm loving that intro video, dude.
Dude,
it's again on that one.
Gets me so jacked. Jacked
gets
like Mountain Dew.
It gets me jacked, but it gets me jacked going in that exact right direction. Not too jacked, but jacked enough. And I am so stoked to be here with you, Johnny, and with Whisper Nation. A couple of items first before we jump into all of the news and notes from around the NFL, taking a look at that Thursday night breakdown from yesterday. Wanted to say welcome to Whisper Nation for joining us on this Friday afternoon. I hope you're having a great end to your week. Thanks for coming and joining us. My name is Austin Sear. You can find me here on Twitter right there at Austin_R_Sear. And of course, joined by Johnny Game Time Hicks. You can follow him at Twitter at Johnny_Game Time, as is usual. Johnny, man, it ended the week. We had Thursday night football, not the outcome that I think we thought we were going to see, but it was still pretty fun.
I mean, I won't lie, it was fun. If you're playing against the players last night, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Football wise, fun game. Yeah, it was fun and entertaining, right? Watching that. But from a fantasy perspective, it was one of those not big gulp. It wasn't a big gulp Thursday, but yeah.
No, it really wasn't a big gulp, was it? There wasn't a ton of crazy action that ended up getting going. Yes, some big plays here and there. Love to see some like that Jalen Waddle big catch down in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson picked up a lot of his fantasy points there at the end. So it was certainly a slower start to the game. Ended up with middle of the road production.
Also, Tua not getting a start. Getting a start, but okay enough to come in at halftime and lead that. It was kind of funny. I was chatting with Hannon when Tua was coming in, and he was like, "Oh no, Tua's coming in. I wanted Brissett to stay in there." And I was like, "Dude, this could be Tua's defining moment." Comes in against Baltimore, leads them back, and sure enough, he does. I just feel bad for Tua, because it seemed like he was like a Jacoby Brissett, because he seemed like a sacrificial lamb. Like it was almost like Miami was like, "Yo, I don't want Tua to get possibly hurt against this bad, this brutal Baltimore defense.
Yeah,
like let's just throw out Jacoby. If something happens, then and it did.
So be it,
and then and then Tua comes in, looks pretty solid. You could tell he's still dealing with that injury right to his finger, but
made some plays that needed to get done down the field. I talked about that Jalen.
He saved that offense.
Right. Saved it, got it done. Hope you got what you needed out of this game, Whisper Nation, but you probably didn't, because it was a little bit of a lackluster game, but we don't have a lackluster audience in here. Want to give a shout out to Whisper Nation in the chat. Mr. Miyagi, truly epic. Jersey J, it is great to have y'all with us. ML jumping in. Love it. So as we do on our Thursday show, for the news we're on Friday show, man. This week is flying by.
I know.
We do our news and notes from around the NFL. We're going to be getting through them, and we love to see those questions coming in from you, Whisper Nation. So don't stop those coming. If we don't get to your question shortly after you post it, we will get to all the questions at the end of the show. So, but questions that are relevant to the topic at hand, because we're going to work from Arizona Cardinals to the Washington football team. If there is a fantasy relevant question and we catch it while we're talking about that subject, we'll try to bring it into the show. And also, if you're short on time and you got to get your question answered right now, you can always hit us with the super chat and we'll go ahead and answer that question right away. If Matt is listening to the show, I want to give a shout out to yesterday, man. Sorry for us. We had a technical difficulty and missed that question that came through. Tried to connect with you afterwards. Hopefully we were able to connect with you there, man. But if you're listening, so sorry for that, dude. That was a mistake and an error, but we have it straightened out. So keep the questions coming. Pizza Belly, what's up, boys? What's up, man?
Our guy.
Great to have you here with us
Patreon
now. All right. Yes. So, Johnny, I want to get into it a little bit here with you. That Thursday night game, you talked about it, but we saw Lamar Jackson, 238 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had an okay day by the end of it, but not like a top 5 quarterback like you were kind of expecting. This was a nice matchup, but you fortunately didn't have a barrel of the base, like just a dog shit day, I guess you could say, for lack of a better expression.
You got lucky with that one for sure. It was looking pretty bad. Like it really was. Miami's defense came to, showed up and came to play in this game. I mean, so did Baltimore for sure. But I'm just saying it was a little bit more surprising from Miami's standpoint because over the last couple of weeks, especially, they've been pretty lenient on getting passed on and letting up yards. So, yeah, it was definitely a Thursday game. Definitely a Thursday game.
Thursday game on the Baltimore side there. We saw Devonta Freeman, who we said I wasn't loving the start, but if you're starting one, that's who you should get going. Saw a lead 10 carries for the team. Lamar Jackson had 9, was in next, but only 35 yards. You didn't love that.
It was not great, but I mean, they kind of, what was unusual, like they were going to him a lot in the beginning, right? Like he had like 6 carries on their first drive. And then it was like after that, they just kind of went away from it a little bit. They also got Le'Veon Bell slightly involved, a little bit more snaps, I should say, not more involved in the game.
Yeah, only
plan.
3 carries.
Yeah. So definitely not what you were expecting at all. Again, this was like a very surprising game. So not a lot of hits on this one.
So surprising in that way, but maybe not so surprising, at least from the usage perspective. You know, we talked about Devonta Freeman being the dude. Wasn't an amazing fantasy day. Just 35 yards rushing, another 23 through the air. So a little over 50 yards there for him. But you do like to see that opportunity at least. And looking forward, Devonta Freeman still be the dude for you, halfback out of Baltimore wise?
Yeah, as of right now, but again, this is the third running back now that we've talked about being, quote unquote, the guy. Again, we'll keep monitoring, but it does seem like he is the guy that they're most trustworthy in as of right now. So
right, and then on that other side of the ball, talking about a running back, and Myles Gaskin is the man that we're going to be talking about. Jersey J talking about him as well. But sorry about Gaskin. Really, I was starting Gaskin in the couples league for us, and there were so many times he. Just like in that was that third, fourth quarter there, second half, where he almost got in the end zone. It was like, oh my God, so close.
Dude, I need to look this up because I want to look up the app, but I swear he had at least 7 red zone targets or red zone carries in last night's game, including that one that was a screen that probably he would have scored on if the lineman didn't steal it from him and decided he was going to run down to the end zone. I was just like, it just is not tonight. This is just not our Thirsty Thursday. When it came to I was so certain Myles Gaskin was going to get in.
Yeah.
And then he didn't, and he had all the opportunities. So that was frustrating. But again, you like the fact that they kept using him, but use that right now. We talked about this yesterday's show. Use this to go and try to offload Myles Gaskin right now because Malcolm Brown coming back next week, or should be at least, that window should open up for the IR return. And then you saw Gaskin kind of struggle in the goal line area.
Yeah.
Don't be shocked if you see Malcolm now take that back because he struggled a little bit.
Dude, I don't want to believe what you're saying, but I have to because Gaskin has been the dude. Ahmed has not been a factor. Good. Three touches last week, only 2 carries yesterday with 6 yards, 3 yards a carry there. So not impressive. And you're like, no, it's Gaskin. He's looking okay. He's getting the opportunity, but it's just 14 carries that he had yesterday, right? And if Malcolm Brown comes in and gets even just 5 carries, that's over a third of his work that he's been picking up. Yeah. And as you put it, those carries for Brown are likely to be coming in the red zone, which would take away Gaskin's ceiling.
Yeah, it was just incredibly frustrating watching the Gaskin game last night, especially. And then on top of all of that was just the fact that they kept trying to run him up the middle. He'd get 2 yards here, and shout out right here, Mr. Miyagi saying, got a shout out. It was fun with Johnny and Jersey J on the Discord last night. We jumped into the Discord, and we were just chatting, and I was literally saying that I was like, I don't know why why are they not setting up screens for Gaskin instead of running it? Because it would be more effective. And then sure enough, Tua comes in first drive. He runs 2 screens and Gaskin gets huge holes. And then one got called back as a holding. Okay. That. Yeah. Okay. That could be why the hole was so big, but it was just they didn't continue. It was frustrating.
It was very frustrating. And do it 420. Hey guys, what's up, man? Let's not forget that he's only a 7th round running back. I hear you, but I would counter, and let's not forget that lineman is not a running back at all and had one of the most impressive goal line plays. Yeah, that was I saw take a meme or something online that was let this be a reminder to NFL teams to never select a running back before the 3rd round. And I was like, I'm not in on it that way. Playmakers are playmakers, and if they can crack it open, but it's just
This is what you're going to see though. Moving forward, you are going to see more running backs selected in the 6th and 7th round and becoming the guy. Like we got to remember, like Elijah Mitchell wasn't a high draft pick either, and the guy
James
looks
Robinson
to be
undrafted.
This is where it's going to go because this is the position, and it's going to create quite the dilemma. Because, and I talked with I've been talking with people about this in the industry. Is like moving forward, running backs. They're not going to get paid. They're not going to get drafted high because unless you're like one of those super elite, like I know Ezekiel Elliott kind of running back,
like a Derrick Henry,
right? Which
like
doesn't
a
come
Saquon
around a
before
lot.
He like got hurt.
So it's
yeah,
where's it? It's going to drop off because if I'm going or have a son that's going into football, I'm not going to be like, hey, go play the running back position because if you do end up playing well and being good at football, you're not going to get paid at that, and your lifespan in the NFL at the running back position is shorter than anything. So it's like I don't know how that position is going to be susceptible in the long run, but it is something that will be, I bet, a really nice trend, or at least the trend moving forward. Is
I think you're seeing that, right? And Ronald comes in. I don't know. You could argue the Barkley pick has been bad for the Giants. You have, but I only would credit that to health because when he's in, and what I would say about this, Johnny, and I agree with your statement overall. Maybe it's like you're not going to see very many back of the 1st to 3rd round running backs, but you will see people still going in the first 15 picks in the NFL. Like if you get one of those exceptional type of playmakers, we've seen those be difference makers. Like Derrick Henry is a true difference maker. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley when he was healthy.
The problem is the thing is, and this is a great point, like when you actually really think about it, no team has ever won because of a running back. Not one single team. Like even the best you could probably
Adrian Peterson MVP year, right? They didn't win. I think they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Trash team. You're not worried about him. You're worried about Adrian Peterson, but like you stop him, that's a team. Similar with like the closest you would probably say was maybe like back in the 80s when the Bears had Peyton, or you can maybe say Barry Sanders for Detroit, but Detroit never did anything with Barry Sanders. So that's the thing, is like the running back position is it's necessary for an offense, but it's not, you don't need the most dominant. If you're in a position,
that's a great point, Johnny. Like if you're a team that is being showcased because of your running back, like a Tennessee with Derrick Henry or the Vikings back in the day with Adrian Peterson, like that running back is going to stand out. Chris Johnson with the Titans, another Titans running back. Like these guys stand out. They earn Offensive Player of the Year considerations. They are in the MVP conversation, but it's never a good enough squad. So you don't want to be a team that's your best player, your franchise dude is your running back, because that's cool and nice and big play. And, you're going to see your squad up on ESPN and stuff, but you're probably not going to win a Super Bowl. You're probably not going to get deep in the playoffs.
In fact, I can come up with more players. This is led down a long hole here, but I can name more players that were not high draft running backs that actually helped their team really win a Super Bowl. James White, Damian Williams, all these guys.
And then when you have a great team, you've got a really good team, that creates a lot of opportunities and a lot of variables that the defense is then going to have to consider, which is going to make a running back who's not, a world beater, but is still really, really good, have a lot of opportunity to do some impressive stuff. So like they end up looking good and playing really well, but you didn't need him to be a 99 overall. You just needed really good point.
Needed a decent running back that's athletic.
Yeah, great points. Well, these are good ones. We're going to move on from this topic of conversation. Another shout out to everybody here who's with us in the chat. Whisper Nation, what's good? We saw Ronald joining us. Love that. Eagle Fang is in. We got Brett Forseth. What's up, y'all? It's great to have you with us. If you enjoy what you're listening to and you haven't already hit us with a subscribe, I would urge you to consider doing so. I think you are going to be happy with that decision. Johnny, I want to know, though, do you think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be happy if Kyler Murray doesn't play this week? And he's right now being looked at as a game time decision, dealing with an ankle. When they're asked if they're considering Murray to be more of a week to be careful, Kingsbury said all situations are being considered, but if Murray is ready to play, he will play. It's a really nice matchup for the Cardinals, but this might not be the best fantasy matchup. I don't know. How are you factoring Kyler Murray this week with the ankle news and the impact this makes on the other playmakers there?
I don't think he goes. I really don't. That's just my honest opinion. Things that I'm hearing around, the Valley. I just don't think that he plays in this game. I don't think that they need to kind of risk it. I think that they can lean on McCoy in this. I think if this is for, a Green Bay Packers game or a LA Rams game like it is next week, I think the story would be different. The line would be a little bit, it would be much more of a conversation as to, do we really play Kyler this week? Can we possibly escape without him worsening that injury? I think because it's Carolina, because Carolina's been struggling so much, because they're starting PJ Walker and not, and Cam Newton's not going to play, but they did sign Cam Newton. I just don't. I don't think that they'll risk it, especially with the game around the corner with the Rams. So I think that McCoy will step in again. I'm not excited for DeAndre Hopkins if he plays, but again, I think it's the same situation. They can win this game without both Kyler and Hopkins. You can give them another week's worth of rest. I think that's what the Cardinals do. And so I don't expect them to play. I would look elsewhere this week if you have those options. And then if they do open up, then, join us Sunday morning and we'll tell you for sure if you should play them over whatever player you're going to.
That's right. An hour and a half before the morning games. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern time. Oh, I got to just shout this one out. Truly Epic says, Noshan Moreno helped me win back in the day for Denver. This is my favorite late round draft selection. Philly Chelsea recommended I pick up Noshan on the 14th. I did. He was a top 10 pick. I love that. Ronald saying Arian Foster was 7th. I think Arian Foster was actually undrafted. So, but in line with that spirit there. Yep. All right, moving on here to the Buffalo Bills. Cole Beasley did not carry an injury designation coming in. Dawson Knox, who's been out, does also not carry an injury designation this week. But Zach Moss, he's been dealing with a concussion. He's questionable. He was as of today. I think he doesn't play, but with Knox coming back, with Emmanuel Sanders, active as well, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, how are you? Does this shift any of the startable pieces in Buffalo for you, Johnny? We like Singletary. I'll get that out of the way. We're starting Diggs, but should you expect more out of him? Would you start Dawson Knox here? Emmanuel Sanders get any consideration? How are you feeling with this new injury news?
I am starting Knox if he's playing. I would get him back in my lineup. I think that affects, Cole Beasley out of everyone the most. So that's where I would probably be looking to where I think the most effect is going to come is away from Cole Beasley if Knox is back in the lineup. I do think that Emmanuel will be fine. I mean, he's a somewhat boomer bust still play, right? Pretty good, solid matchup for him. So I don't mind, if you want to what the heck flex him. But I do think this is going to be one of those Diggs kind of really big weeks. He's been due for one. The metrics are kind of pointing that this could be the week. So I expect Diggs to be okay. Knox, I'm getting him in my lineup, and I'm not looking really forward to playing Cole Beasley.
I like the way you broke that one down there. We got 3 flexible starts here, and I like how the lingo is starting to come together. We got the what the heck flex that you just identified. We've got sneaky start, and we have less desperate start.
Yeah, sneaky snart.
Sneaky snart. Yeah, less desperate. And what the heck flex. I see like a less desperate. It's like, I don't like this, but there's a couple of factors working in their favor. It's a better situation than it would be last week.
And then you got the straight up just you're desperate, which is,
that's just like
AKA my Naheem Hines pick last week on last Thursday.
No, I
was desperate.
No, I know you were.
Yeah, that was sneaky.
That's a sneaky. That's pure sneaky start because you did have expectations. Well, not expectations that, maybe you only put like a 20, 30, 40% chance of it coming through, but you do see that ceiling and you called it and it hit. So that's why that's like the best definition of a sneaky snart, but then a less desperate one. And then like a what the heck flex is an Emmanuel Sanders where it's like, there's no reason that it's a better or worse start. He's always got that roll the dice ability. And that's what we're doing there.
I like that
so
one.
I like people here joining in. I like Mr. Miyagi telling the dentist to subscribe.
Dude, I love it, dude. That's what I'm talking about.
We're going to be getting to all of your questions by the end of the show. We're going to do our best to tag in the relevant ones, the topic at hand. So stay with us, Whisper Nation. And if you're in a rush, you can always hit us there with the super chat and we'll get that question addressed right away. And if we don't, we'll find a way to refund you your money. Moving on, the Carolina Panthers are wondering if they could refund the money they gave over to Sam Darnold. No, I'm just kidding. But they put him on the injured reserve. So he's officially out for a while now. It's going to be PJ and Cam Newton now came in. PJ this week. Cam's not likely to play, according to Joe Pearson on Twitter. Do you see this as a positive or a negative for really the only other considerable start? Yes, CMC is in. The considerable start is DJ Moore. What does this quarterback shift do for your consideration of DJ, Johnny?
I mean, I don't. It's one of those, like you said, we were just talking about, like, it's DJ Moore. You throw him in your lineup. Most likely, you probably don't have a better option. There's a lot of concern with me as far as being efficient or being. We talked about that. Like DJ Moore started off the season ultra hot, like 3 out of 4 games as a top 12 wide receiver. Since then, he's not played. Like, yeah, his best game has been like a wide receiver in the low end wide receiver 2, but in most cases, he's been a low end wide receiver 3. PJ Walker, obviously not as highly touted, but he is a good playmaker. He's a solid quarterback. He'll get quick out. So if you're in a PPR league, I still do think I'm a little bit more comfortable playing DJ Moore in that kind of format as opposed to a standard. Then I am just like, I want to see something first before I can trust DJ Moore in there. But I ultimately do think Cam Newton takes over this job and plays it out. They gave him a pretty, I mean, you talked about what they gave Sam Darnold. They also gave Cam Newton relatively a lot of money too, like $4.5 million guaranteed, and then up to $10 million is what that contract is worth for half a year. When like New England, I don't know if you remember, like New England paid him like $2 million, if $2 million, you know, it was like nothing. So good for him getting a little bit more. People were saying they were impressed with this press conference. We'll see. Again, this might be his last opportunity to kind of give it what he has, but
makes it coming back home to where it all began. I mean,
if you're in a super flex league, pick up Cam because, you know, there's the rushing upside, of course, but I'm not looking to roll him out there. I don't think he's going to be like this big, oh, here comes Cam, we're saving the day for this Carolina offense. I don't see it that way.
Right. Want to say what up to David Harris, who joined the show. We'll be getting to those questions here once we get through it. As Nick Chubb is trying to get through COVID, it's not going to happen soon over there in Cleveland. Nick Chubb is out this week. We've also got Demetric Felton dealing with COVID, who's going to be out. Fire up your Dearness Johnsons at the halfback position. And Johnny, I posted the clip on Instagram of your Donovan Peoples-Jones bit before the show started. And I just want to see if you've had any changes in that. We expect to see Landry get more targets, but there's shorter average depth of targets compared to Donovan Peoples-Jones, which is why you have liked that as almost a sneaky start. We're putting in there. Been a what the heck flex. Now we're looking at him as a sneaky start, where Donovan Peoples-Jones is air yards, like 80 air yards per game, decent target share, enough to say he's going to get a few hits thrown away with the chances of him coming down, and that would be good for your fantasy production, right?
Yeah, he would be, if I'm going to roll. A lot of people, like I said, would probably say, oh, I would prefer Jarvis over Peoples-Jones, but I'm the other way. Like, I like that 19 point, I believe it was like 19.2 is his average target distance. So like he's getting a lot. Sure, he's only going to get 5, 6, maybe 8 targets in a game, but again, you're giving me that average depth target that's way down the field, and OBJ has a connection. Like, again, or not OBJ, but Baker doesn't seem to struggle trying to find anybody else but OBJ down the field. So I'm not going to play Peoples-Jones if I don't have to. I'm going to watch him again, but I'm liking what I'm seeing between that combo, and I don't mind him as a stash at all.
Fun take. I like that. Moving over here to the Detroit Lions, where running back Jamal Williams dealing with a thigh, popped up a couple of weeks ago. He hasn't practiced since. Doesn't look like he's playing. How much more excited are you now for DeAndre Swift because of this, Johnny?
I don't know. Last week I was or 2 weeks ago, I was really excited about it because they sat him, and then what happened? Our boy Swift had the worst day of the year. So I don't know if I like this or not. Maybe it is nice that they keep him a little bit fresh. It is something to monitor. And yes, a slight uptick. I do want to mention, though, if this continues, like this is now the second week of games. watch I have to make sure I'm cautious with his name because it sounds like Jameer Jefferson, rookie. They drafted. He did get in the end zone on the last game. He came in kind of garbage time, but I would presume that they would kind of thrust him into that Jamal Williams role, so he could become the new handcuff if Williams does go like on IR or something like that. Right. So just watch a guy like Jameer if you're in a deeper league.
Good advice there. Hope Jamal does work out. He's such a fun player.
I do like him. He is fun.
I didn't like him as a running back for my Packers, but I certainly love him behind the camera and everything that he comes out. Love his perspectives on things. Love to also see T.Y. Hilton clear in the league concussion protocol, wide receiver there for Indianapolis.
He's y'all.
He's going to be starting in week 10 against the Jaguars. This is coming from Mike Wells over on Twitter. We've been talking a lot about Carson Wentz, who's going to be missing the birth of his own child on Sunday. Reports are I wish him and his family all the best with their new addition on the way. But this new wide receiver on the way, well, new-ish wide receiver on the way, T.Y. Hilton, how does this impact your Michael Pittmans, maybe your Nyheim Hineses, any other impacts? How do you see this news? Is it significant or is it just whatever?
It's good for Wentz. Obviously, gets another weapon, and he had a decent rapport when Hilton was playing. What we did see, though, the biggest deficit is to Pittman. He cuts into the workload. He's gonna it doesn't matter how bad what's going on with T.Y. Hilton. Every single time he just walks into 15% of this market share. That's what the coaching staff is like. We definitely need to get T.Y. at least 15% of the targets. I don't care why or how, this is what we're going to do. And as a result, it cuts into guys like Pittman. And so that's where the concern is for me with Pittman moving forward is how much does that cut into it, and the end zones and things like that. So I'm worried for Pittman. But do I think, right now Pittman's a wide receiver 1. So I don't think he continues that.
Yeah, probably not. Still a viable play, but not at this clip, most likely.
I'm really excited for his future too.
For sure. Yeah, it's exciting to see what he's done. Just things regress to the mean and he's elevating, but there's going to be a lot of fluctuations ahead. Fluctuations happen all the time in the NFL, and Jacksonville has been no exception to that. Johnny James Robinson, love what he's been all about. He's probably coming back. He's dealing with the heel. He's got a good chance. Still not 100% certain, though, so make sure you're tuning in Sunday morning for the live lineup show an hour and a half before kickoff. But right now, it does look like James Robinson is playing. If he doesn't, Carlos Hyde comes in. We talked about Carlos Hyde last week. We said we didn't expect him to do a great job with his opportunity, but we did expect for him to get a lot of opportunity. He had 21 carries. I actually didn't even know that, so I just looked it up again right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, only a lot.
67 yards, though.
Yeah,
not great.
You'll take it.
So I guess my question is, James Robinson, you hope he's back. He's a top 3 elusive back. He's a good runner. He's done good work, even with Urban Meyer when he's gotten the opportunity now. I guess, though, if he's out, does Carlos Hyde's volume from last week give you more encouragement to starting him against Indianapolis? Would he be a sneaky smart Carlos Hyde, or is he on the more desperate side, you think, against Indianapolis if James Robinson doesn't play?
If James Robinson doesn't play, I would throw him back in my lineup if I need to. I don't know if I would say it's a sneaky start, but it's because
between less desperate and sneaky.
Yeah, it's just like a.
I think it's closer to desperate still.
I don't know.
Just because that upside is down.
Yardage.
Yeah. Are you 67 yards on 21 carries?
Here's the thing, though. I understand when it comes to fantasy football, when you are, this is just a lesson for Whisper Nation when you're building your lineup. Points are points. And you don't need to swing for the fences on every single player. You don't need to. You do that with 1 or 2. You will also get guys in there, right, that are they have this potential, but I'm not banking on that upside potential. I'm banking on them just doing exactly what their job indicates. And so that's how you build your roster to make it the strongest week to week. And what you do is you not only are banking on your own team saying, I'm confident my team is going to get this, but more often times than not, your opponent will lose to you because they are trying to swing for the fences on every single pick or get the best players that they possibly can play in their lineup, which is not the actual, they're going name value instead of what matchups dictate. And oftentimes that's what ends up messing. So your opponent actually screws themselves. Meanwhile, you're just like, I'm going to be steady Eddie. I'm going with what I know with a couple upside plays. If the upside plays hit, I'm going to have a mega balls day. If I just go with what I know, I'm going to have a solid day, and I'm going to have myself a 70% chance of winning this week.
Love that. So build some floor play pieces that are going to pad your base, and then incorporate a couple of ceiling plays that could really elevate you. I think that's a smart strategy on a good way to actually get enough points to try to win your matchup. That's some solid strategy there. And I see some solid strategy here being discussed in the comments. I love Whisper Nation helping each other out. These are great. Love to see you guys sharing information and brainstorming on this. We're going to do our best to get to all of these ones here after we're here done with the news and notes. But guys, thanks for the crosstalk and stuff. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know what's not so cool to see, Johnny, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, probably not suiting up. This is a bit of a surprise to me. He was good reports from his recovery, saying that he was looking great. But most recently now, according to Nate Taylor over on Twitter, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid said it's probably a stretch for Clyde Edwards-Helaire to return week 10 against the Raiders. When asked if CEH would return Sunday night, Reid transparently responded that Clyde Edwards-Helaire worked all week, but it's probably a stretch. Darrell Williams averaging those 18.2 touches. We talk about that floor play. That's probably continuing. Do you have any hesitation of keeping DW in your lineup if CEH sits? And how would that shift if they say, like, CEH is active, but we're going to put him on a pitch count, just like David Montgomery was on a pitch count? But I don't know.
The thing with the David Monty was, like, the reason why it smelled a little bit more fishy or looked a little bit more fishy was because it was right before their bye week. And so it was like, why would you bring a guy back and just give him a couple touches if he's not 100% or near 100%, and then you're going to bye? It doesn't make sense. In this case, Kansas City doesn't have a bye for a couple more weeks. So it wouldn't, if they activated him and said that, it would be weird to me. Like, it wouldn't make sense for them to do that. So that's why it would be like, okay, if they activate him and they're saying they're going to get him touches and they have a couple weeks before their bye, then I would be like, okay, I don't expect them to just get a couple of touches. I'd expect him to get his normal workload and Williams to go back to his kind of third down, change of pace / goal line back. However, like you said, with what we're seeing so far, it's not looking like they will risk putting out CEH this week. And I also thought it was kind of on the shorter end anyway, that he was coming back off of a sprain like that, because it just happened 3 weeks ago. So I did kind of think that was a little fast as well. But yeah, looking like it's going to be Williams. You should put him in your lineup. Solid matchup Sunday night. He'll be an RB2 for you with upside if he can get the touchdown.
Good breakdown there. Got to give a shout out here to Cat's Pajamas. What's good, man?
Hi.
Great to have you here, Johnny. And now we got probably the most interesting, I don't think there's actually a lot of substance for us to talk on this one, and we've spoken about it already, but it is the news and notes show, and it is the biggest bit of news that we've had here, and that's Odell Beckham going to the Los Angeles Rams. The rich get richer. Odell Beckham is, well, even if it is just a $1.25 million guaranteed contract with another $3 million available in team-based incentives. Weird. I don't even know how these deals end up getting paid. Guys get paid like crazy amounts of money that you haven't seen the impact. And then guys that are like the hottest name in the thing, are making less money than like D2 college coaches sometimes. I don't know. It's just always like weird shakeouts. We expect him to come in, take that Van Jefferson role. You've spoken on this before. You think Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods keep doing their thing, but maybe some of those touchdowns are going over to Odell Beckham's side. Not a factor going to be this week, but looking forward, is that still what you're predicting here for the Rams and Odell Beckham?
Yeah, I am. I mean, we have to remember and look back. Like, initial thought is, damn it, this is bad. Like, this is panic, right? As far as Cooper Kupp, Woods, what they've both been top 12 wide receivers to this point. Adding a third option, especially like OBJ, you're like, oh, this is definitely not good. Way, way down. However, I was thinking about it. It's very similar to these three. There were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago now. Cooper Kupp was there. You had Bobby T, and you also had Brandon Cooks. I don't know about you, Austin, But I was thinking about this. And this might be spicy, maybe. I would rather have. I think Brandon Cooks is a better wide receiver than OBJ. I think it.
Like
look at the entire course of his entire. I'm talking about his whole entire career wise. Brandon Cooks is better than OBJ. He just hasn't gotten
a straight 1,000 yards every year. Brandon Cooks, or 3 consecutive years of over 1,300.
Different teams
for Odell Beckham
with different quarterbacks, with different. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is, who the team is, how long he's been on that team. He has produced.
It's an interesting thing. Brandon Cooks has had good quarterback, not always, but most of the time. Like Drew Brees, pretty good quarterback. Tom Brady, pretty good quarterback.
But then Goff. Not a great quarterback, man.
Not bad for fantasy wise,
But even with Goff produced Cooper Kupp as a top 10 wide receiver. Brandon Cooks was a top 15 receiver that year. Bobby T, I believe I have to check that one. I'm not sure, but I know that he was up there as far as like they were all 3 solid wide receivers.
Interesting. Yeah.
I do still think, and Matthew Stafford, I think we all agree he's better than Jared Goff. So I do think ultimately the ceiling isn't falling quite as much as I thought it was going to fall. But again, is Cooper Kupp going to now remain the number 1 overall wide receiver right now? I don't think so. He scored 10 touchdowns already.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't, and what have we over the last couple of years or a couple of weeks? A very solid wide receiver, but when he does not get the touchdowns, he is just a normal, he's just like a normal wide receiver for you. He's a wide receiver, high-end wide receiver too.
You got to throw in there, though, he leads the NFL in receiving yards.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is he is still going to be a solid wide receiver, but is he the number 1? The reason he is the number 1 isn't because he leads the league in receiving yards. It's because he leads the league in receiving yards with 10 whopping touchdowns where no one's
crushing everywhere. He's crushing everywhere. He's crushing in yards and he's crushing in touchdowns. And if you take some of those touchdowns away, he still crushes in yards and he does okay in touchdowns, which maybe takes him from like the hands down number 1 to like
he's gonna
back end elite.
I think 1. He's going to settle right around probably wide receiver 8, 9-ish, around there, maybe 7. Ultimately, I think that Woods will finish more as like a wide receiver 15, 16. And then you'll have OBJ, who will probably be like a wide receiver 27 to 30-ish range. Maybe a little bit more than that if he is actually not a good wide receiver, but we'll see. It's just wild that they would bring him in there though, like that. How they afforded him, how they were going to bring him in there, and he thinks that he's going to get a bunch of targets.
Pots of gold when they were digging up the area for SoFi Stadium.
Yeah,
that's how I think.
Apparently. Or they like invested, had a secret stash of Bitcoin that they found out what the password was.
I'm sure. I'm sure none of those things are off the table in this day and age. Here, you know who's kind of looking like he's off the table though, Johnny? That's Ramondre Stevenson, halfback for the New England Patriots, dealing with a concussion. He was remained sidelined at Friday's practice. I haven't heard any differences yet from Damian Harris, who was sidelined at yesterday's practice. We like Brandon Bolden. If these other 2 halfbacks are held out, does that stay true for you, Johnny?
Yes. And I guess, and then they had the news blurb about how Johnny
Smith
could get some running back work, which, to be honest, that was something they were showing in training camp. They were actually getting Jonnu on sweeps and stuff. Yeah. And they were lining him up in the backfield. Not a lot, but there were some plays that they were calling for Jonnu like that because he's super athletic. He just needs space.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think, especially this indicates that the running backs are not expecting to play at all. They're expecting Bolden, but I don't think Jonnu will get like a whole grip. I think they'll kind of use him sparingly like they did with Patterson a couple of years ago.
Good breakdown there. That's a fun thing to watch. I would love to see Jonnu Smith get a couple of opportunities to try to get in the end zone from the backfield. Johnny, we love watching Alvin Kamara try to get in the end zone, but that's probably not going to happen, or signs are looking less and less likely. Running back for the New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara. Not expecting Kamara to play in this one. Saints beat writer Nick Underhill added, dealing with a knee issue. With that, prayers up for Kamara. How are you scratching the rest of the backfield here? Anybody get a start consideration for you now?
Mark Ingram. When now he's one of those, it's like a Carlos Hyde situation. It's not sexy. It's not, but what do we know? We know he's going to get carries. We know he's going to get touches, probably the goal line, unless they bring Taysom Hill in to do that. But that's what I would expect,
That's what it's going to be.
I'd play him. I'd play him if you have him. And I feel bad because Jersey J, we're going back between, it was a Gaskin or Ingram. I just didn't know. Like it was hard to know without all.
Our opinions change with new information, at least impactful, solid information. And this is new information. So make sure you stay with us, Whisper Nation, because we're going to be jumping into all of the new bits as we do today. And then again on the Sunday lineup show, an hour and a half before our kickoff. If you like and subscribe, you'll get notifications about that. Moving over to the New York Jets. Corey Davis, man, I love talking about this guy. He's going to play in week 10. His hip is feeling better. We like Elijah Moore. Coming to break out.
He's the one I want now moving forward.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I understand Corey Davis coming back, but Corey Davis really wasn't. I mean, he had a couple of good games, popped off. But yeah, I think Elijah Moore is going to be the guy, the wide receiver that you're going to probably want for the Jets moving forward.
Speaking of the Jets here, I got to read this headline here about Mike White. Zach Wilson said his style of plays need to get more like Mike White. Mike Wilson said that White is his best friend on the team and that he would try to emulate White's patience and willingness to check down to the open man once he returns to the Jets starting lineup. Interesting thing here. Mike White comes in, chucks for over 400 yards, gets him that really exciting win.
Is this the new
Mike White?
Is this the new RG3 Kirk Cousins dilemma?
Ooh, where Mike White is that Kirk Cousins, RG3, bigger upside, higher draft capital, all that exciting stuff. But deep down, the franchise knows it might not be this flashy dude.
I don't know. Mike White look good. So I do like some things that I have seen out of the rookie quarterback. So, well, I guess both are rookie quarterbacks, but
Mike White's not. That's just been there for a little while.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
He just hasn't played. He's been like these.
So yeah. But draft capital versus guy that's been sitting on. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun to keep monitoring it. And the Jets have all of a sudden gotten more exciting. They're winning games. They're making plays.
Kind of winning games. How wild would that be?
No, seriously. Crazy. Love to have everyone here. Chaw jumping in. Got a good question here. We're going to get to all of the questions at the end, Chaw. We're working our way through here. We are at Pittsburgh. And that's pretty close to the end of the list. So we're getting close. So Najee Harris, Johnny, I got a clip I'm posting about him here after the show. He was limited at Thursday's practice dealing with a foot issue. This is the first time Harris has been on the injury report all season. Harris finished out the Steelers-Bears Monday Night Football game on the field and had no problems on Wednesday. So this may be more of a rest day, but it's also a new bit of information. I don't think we're concerned at this point. And even if he's 80%, it's like, then fine, you're 80% at the volume leader in the NFL, basically. That's still a solid pickup. Maybe he moves back from a top 5 halfback to like a back end RB1, but there's no world you're taking Najee Harris out. But are you actually concerned for Najee Harris? And if this foot thing is looking like it's something maybe more real than we want it to, do you have any advice for Whisper Nation on ways to prepare for this ailment?
You definitely don't like to see this at all with Najee. Hopefully it's something with your foot and your running back. That's
just so scary because it can be nothing, or it can be like, oh, your season is done like that. Boom.
Yeah, that's what's very worrisome about this. You definitely. Here's my ultimate gut, especially this would suck because Najee is one of those guys. It's one of those running backs that are true bell cow, getting all the workload, all that. We know that. We have seen. My gut feeling would be that it becomes if anything does happen to Najee, that it's now I'm blanking. Kalen Balaj. I think Kalen Balaj would take over this.
Over Benny Snell,
Benny Snell has been getting more so like the change of pace.
Right.
He's been on the field more when it comes to like the few snaps Najee isn't on the field. Yeah. But my ultimate guy is like I've seen Benny Snell play. It's not good.
I know. Yeah, I like your words on Benny Snell.
Yeah,
gotta pull up that Anthony McFarland, Benny Snell back and forth like a year and a half ago between.
Right. Them. Yeah. And I'll admit, like Benny Snell looked better last year when they did give him a little bit more touches. Like I'll admittedly say that, but I just think that I think Kalen Balaj would be the guy that they would turn to if it turned to that, if anything happened to Najee. So I would start, like we say this, if you have Najee, you're probably sitting in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
I would make sure I pick up at least, if you don't believe me and you want to go with your gut with Snell, make sure you're picking up Snell before this game, or
Dude.
or picking up Bley before this game, because if there is something that comes out where he can't give it a go, or if God forbid something does happen to Najee, it becomes more serious, then you have a jump start on the waiver wire this late in the season. That could be a game changer.
I got to double down on what you said there, man. If you have Harris in your lineup, I'd be picking up a backup, a handcuff, who I think is either it's Balaj, I think it's Snell, whoever you think it is, pick them up because they're probably both available. But this news is like close enough to be taken seriously, but it's not yet. So no one's going to be jumping and dropping a guy they like for one of these pieces. But if we get any new news, like this is real, Najee Harris is out, that becomes the waiver out of the week. And people start thinking down the line, like, get him now while he's free versus, half to plus of your remaining WAB. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. Groggy Style, thanks for joining the show. We're going to jump to this question in just a second. We're over here now with the San Francisco 49ers, where surprise wide receiver Deebo Samuel's been kicking ass, but we've expected a regression to the mean. George Kittle came back. Brandon Ayuk is now starting to take off a little bit. We like that.
Yep.
We didn't like the calf news about Deebo Samuel, but he's been taken off the injury report. We know he's not feeling 100%, but you certainly still like to see him coming off. Who are you liking more in this matchup this week, Deebo or Ayuk, and anything that we should really be concerned about or anything to pay special note to, Johnny?
Yeah, so and then we also had, because this is relevant, we had Cha asking thoughts on Ayuk rest of season sell, ? So my honest opinion on this game is I do believe this would probably be a little bit more of an Ayuk game, or excuse me, a Deebo Samuel game.
Okay.
As far as they're going to, I would imagine their game plan is going to get the ball out quick to their playmakers. The one thing that Ramsey does struggle with the most is not actually like the bigger wide receiver, bulkier wide. It's these small, elusive ones that it's hard for him to get wrap around and tackle, and like they're elusive. He can't jam them as much. That's when he struggles a little bit more. So I'd imagine that you'll see Ayuk or Deebo, in this game get a lot of targets, get really quick outs, try to get him that yak. But as far as moving forward, because of that matchup, that's why I'm a little nervous for Ayuk in this game. But moving forward, I do think you're going to start to see this be more of the Ayuk is the one that you're wanting out of the two. I think that Deebo he'll still see eight, maybe 10 targets in a game. But again, it's not going to be what he was getting in the beginning of the season, where he was able to rack up a lot of yards as well. I think that you'll start to see that lean over to Ayuk as he gets more and more involved in this offense. You've got Kittle there as well. That's going to steal targets away from Deebo. And then also you're talking about red zone. We already know Kittle is a huge red zone threat, Austin. Right. But then second to that is Ayuk. Ayuk is like getting so many red zone targets, and Jimmy G is looking for him whenever they get there. They like his hands. So I think moving forward, I do like Ayuk more than Deebo.
I like this take here, and I hope you're right for my dynasty team, where I've been starting Ayuk. Started him last week. Got to start him again this week. Speaking of starts, the Seattle Seahawks are going to be starting Russell Wilson. He's been fully cleared to return, and Russell Wilson's just that dude where if he can, he will, but that doesn't mean he's going to necessarily produce. He's going to play against the Packers. Are you starting him this week, Johnny?
I said this on the matchup show. I probably am starting him. Most likely, if you held on to him, you don't have a better option. You're probably rolling out there. Not a great matchup for Russell Wilson, but it will be a fun game. And, it could be a shootout. It could be that. But again, the matchup kind of dictates that it's probably not going to be. And you might want to temper your expectation a little bit for Russ. But if you waited this long, you probably don't have a better option. So I'm starting him.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad start either there. Jersey J asks to stream the Seahawks defense if Rodgers is out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad. It's like Jordan Love could do, but he also could do the other way, Right. So like I like that in terms of a defense. I don't always want like the slowest grind out defensive matchup for my fantasy pick. I want a game that I expect to have a lot of movement, but maybe be a little bit sloppy, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's what you want. You like it sloppy.
Yeah, you like it a little sloppy, and Jordan Love coming in and quarterbacking in a game that could be a decent over-under would be that exact type of matchup.
Yeah.
You get a pick six or something fun like that, a fumble six, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Moving over here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man, they've got a lot of fun players, and a lot of those guys, unfortunately, aren't going to be playing this week. Rob Gronkowski, he's out. Antonio Brown, we already know that he's riding his bike around with the boot on, and maybe Chris Godwin.
Well, he shed the boot, but he's already been ruled out this week. So no AB.
No AB, no Gronk. Big question with Chris Godwin.
Yeah, so Chris Godwin returned to practice today. We do expect him to play. And if he plays, you're getting him in your lineup. If he doesn't, let's say they are expecting,
Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson would be the guy. You're talking about a what the heck flex, or a guy that you could go find on your waivers right now that has tremendous upside against Washington defense that's giving up the most yards right now to wide receivers. Tom Brady, we know, they give up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So we know Tom Brady's going to have a big day. So you want the pass catchers there, especially Gronk being rolled in. Also, you see the news blurb on Gronk? They were like, oh, Gronk is probably, or BA or Bruce Arians came out and was like, oh, Gronk is probably like 2 to 3 weeks away. Okay. Like, he's 2 to 3 weeks away. Why in the hell did you put him in the New Orleans game and play him for 10 snaps where it looks like he got re-injured now? And then you're sitting him this long and you never put him on IR. Right. Why?
Maybe they're hedging their bets. They're hoping for better news, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. Maybe they didn't prepare for the worst.
For better coaching staff that will communicate with its fans and loyal fan base of fantasy football. That's what I want.
Watch out for that coach speak. Hugh Jackson warned us. I know.
But AB, little update on him. Out this game. I do think he'll be back next week. They said so. It came out what he had. It was like a bone spur in his heel or something like that. He's dealing with it. He was really close to coming back this week, according to BA. And it sounds like, and BA even came out and said that he would expect AB back before Gronk. So
there we go. We'll keep an eye and ear out for that. Make sure you keep an eye and ear out for the Sunday Live lineup show coming an hour and a half before kickoff. We're going to be getting into all of the updates and answering your lineup questions at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time before kickoffs there on Sunday. 2 more teams here left, Johnny. We've got the Tennessee Titans, and then we'll close it out with the Washington football team before we jump into all of Whisper Nation's great questions that I got stacking up. Yep. Not a lot of substance here, but we've got Ryan Tannehill sick. He's got an illness, not COVID. No injury designation. He's going to play. But maybe if you're going back and forth between start Ryan Tannehill or another quarterback, maybe this influences you a little. Maybe you think he's got a little less pep in his step because he's fighting off the sniffles or whatever it might be. Didn't get a lot of information on that, but we just know he's sick. So just factor that in, but it shouldn't really have a major impact. Speaking of not making a major impact, Logan Thomas is not going to be making one for the Washington football team. He has been taken off the IR, but Ron Rivera said it's just not ready. He's just not ready to be put on the football field just yet. I was hoping he'd come back. He's not going to come back. Continue rolling with your contingency plan.
It was a good matchup this week. I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones become like another, flex play if you need a tight end this late. But yeah, I was hoping he'd be back for this game, but he's not. So RSJ, one more week.
RSJ, one more week. He's been a fine fill-in for you. Been enjoying that, man. And I just enjoyed you and me and Whisper Nation here getting through all of the news and notes from around the NFL. So let's get to those questions now, man.
Let's do it.
All right. So starting up here, we got Jersey J up at the top. I've got McKissick and Judy, my flex, and Pollard and Ingram and Wilson. Start. What am I doing? Like, what order do you put those backs? Who am I taking out if only one of them actually starts? So JD McKissick, Jerry Judy, and then Pollard, Ingram, Wilson Jr.
Okay. I think I don't think Wilson. I don't think Wilson's starting. Wilson just remains a stash for me. Yeah, as of right now, I'm still rolling with McKissick in this with one spot here.
What about Ingram? I like McKissick. Yeah, but what if Kamara's out?
If Kamara is out, I think I'm still rolling McKissick, even if Ingram is, even if Kamara is
the
out.
Upside of the play.
Yeah, and I'm almost certain this is PPR as well. And like I said, I expect McKissick to get I mean, that's how you attack that Tampa Bay defense, is not up the gut. Of course, they'll do it, from a few times, but the most is like on the sides and doing quick screens or outs, and you're going to see a lot of that. And I also expect Washington to be down in this game, even with Brady not having all of his weapons. And so they're going to have to come from behind and pass in this game, and that's going to spell McKissick. So that's where I'd ultimately go.
I am going with McKissick in our league of record. I'll be starting him as well. Mr. Miyagi here. He told us this at the very end. We didn't get a chance before we ended the podcast.
Oh, yes.
He got
awesome.
Picked it up.
Yeah.
Great other running back, so he could afford it. That was really
cool. Loved it.
Jersey J, if Murray plays, are you starting him over Carr or Hurts full PPR Superflex?
I'd start him over Hurts in a full. I would start him over Hurts if he plays.
But not Carr?
No, I'm playing Carr this week.
Okay. Mr. Miyagi, I need one wide receiver. 3. I've got Agnew. Free agents are Hilton, Hardman, Raymond, Gage, Tim Patrick, Crowder, Lazard.
Oh, nice. And he gets 20, and he gets points for return yards. Yeah, I'm going Agnew. I'm keeping Agnew.
You love that one there. Agnew's a fun one, dude. Like this fun slot.
He's not sexy, but again, he's one of those.
Kind of is sexy. He could be sexy. He's like a couple big plays away. He's just like, I think he's the right lighting and maybe a new hairstyle away from being like super sexy. What's nice
about Agnew is he's a former quarterback, so he knows. That's why he's really good at finding. He's good at finding the zones, and that's why he's been really solid. Yeah, I like Agnew. Agnew's been a fun one.
Yeah, working through here to find the next question. Here we got from David Harris. What's good, gentlemen? What's good, David? Fournette or Darrell Henderson? Standard. Love the show. Love having you with us, man. What do you think? You start Leonard Fournette? You starting Darrell Henderson? Darrell Henderson's been banged up.
Yeah, I'm probably going. Or is this Darrell Williams?
I think he cleared. No, he cleared it here.
Oh, it is. Okay, Hendry. I would go Fournette on this one. I would go Fournette.
I would too.
Yeah. Just because Henderson is a little dinged up, not as great of a matchup for them. With weapons down for Brady, you can see them leaning a little bit more on Fournette maybe. I would probably go. I think that's a safer option.
I think so too. I like this. We play nice here. No need for that. It was a little spat. That was good. We do play nice.
Yeah, we do play nice. We love each other though.
We play seriously, but we do play nice because it's just so much. You don't need to be toxic.
Yeah.
All right.
We get enough of that in our leagues.
Yeah, it's a toxic world, man. We don't need to have a toxic. We don't need to bring it into the space that we create, man. And we love the people that we get to connect with. I traded OBJ and Kareem Hunt for Dalvin Cook. Did I win due to my league panic because of the news this week? I mean, OBJ might be nothing. Hunt is. I like him coming back, but he's still not back. Dalvin, yeah, I think you take the risk with this deal. And even if Cook, he gets kicked out of the NFL and no one picks him up, I think it's unlikely. That's no comment on the actions that have been claimed, but just like looking at how it'll probably unfold, at least this season. I mean, next year we'll see how this legal conversation surrounds and impacts Dalvin Cook. You talk about Kareem Hunt there, another guy who's been impacted by similar types of situations here. Yeah, it's probably going to have a bigger impact next year, I think, than it will be.
Yeah. I think if there was going to be something that, like, I think if he were going to be released or something like that drastic, it would have already happened because this report came out, Tuesday? So I think it started to come unraveled on Tuesday, right? The first, with Dalvin initially coming out. I think the part that makes it complicated and why it's not going to be such a, black and white, that it could maybe wait until next year, is the fact that it's, two people accusing each other.
Countersuit. And like he's gotten so far, it does elevate it all, which could be all just a smokescreen, but it might be an effective delay tactic.
Yeah.
On Dalvin Cook's side. So we'll see about that. Pick 2, Jerry Jeudy, Emmanuel Sanders, Brandon Ayuk, and Noah Fant. We're going Ayuk.
Yeah, I really like Fant's matchup this weekend. Like, he's in a very good spot, but would I play him over Sanders? Probably not. I would probably go with like Judy and Sanders, or I'd probably go Judy. Is this PPR? I think it's probably PPR. I'd probably go with those two, Judy and Ayuk. Probably Judy and Ayuk.
And if I'm really stuck in between a spot, I lean on talent. Who's got the ability to make it happen. And I like Sanders is no slouch. He's underrated on that side, but Ayuk and Judy to me are the most talented ceiling raisers of the bunch. So it's a close call for me too.
Yeah.
Flex Ayuk or Pollard, Johnny?
See, in this case, I'd probably play Pollard over Ayuk this week.
Do you think Pollard has any elevated?
I do think with Zeke is going to get and continue to monitor his injury concern, but I don't think it's major. But I do think that Pollard's been really. I just don't like the schedule. I don't like the matchup for Ayuk. That's the only thing. Ramsey and that second corner. I know they have been giving up a few yards here and there, but they've been pretty shutting down. And especially coming off of a bad loss, you could really. And it's the 49ers. It's a division game. I'm just not sold on playing Ayuk this week because of the matchup. But moving forward, he's got a juicy schedule.
Yeah. Good breakdown there. NPR 7-2. Well done. 10-team PPR traded away Elijah Mitchell and Mike Williams for Debo. Running backs are I think Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Henderson, Javonte, and Dylan. Wide receivers are AJ Brown, Michael Gallup, Ayuk, and Bateman.
Yeah,
I don't know if he did. I don't know if this is did I win the trade or if this is a question.
I hope you didn't do this. I would not trade away Mitchell right now. Mitchell's in an RB2 with RB1 upside in. You can get a lot more and a lot better than Debo. And I understand Mike Williams, I'm fine trading away Mike Williams. Yeah, I would be getting something better than Debo.
I think Debo's going to be regressing. And I think Mitchell's going to be increasing.
I would rather have, exactly. Yeah. Yes. I would rather go out and try to get DK instead of Debo or
someone who's got a chance of an uptick coming in. I think there's just no way Debo's going to bring anything better to the table than what he started this season out as. Right. So you're chasing. Best case he does what he did, and it was all of our eyes were blasted open from what Debo did to start the year, including the defense that's watching film. It's just not going to replicate.
Yeah.
I don't like this. And I like Elijah Mitchell. I've become a believer on Elijah Mitchell too. They want him to be that dude.
Mm-hmm. And he's good and he's fitting into that system. He's fitting into that system well. So as long as he's healthy, you're keeping him there.
And I get trying to balance it out. And I think he might have done this deal, but I think trying to balance out your roster is one thing, and you do have to get ready for the playoffs, but I still think it's a little bit too late. Or a little too early. I would wait until you get closer to the trade deadline. You're 7-2. You could stomach losses. You don't need to put yourself out in a risky position. You can wait to have more certainty be on your side. If you're desperate, you need to gamble on deeper prospects. You are in a fortunate position where you don't need to gamble on deeper prospects. I'd want to, you like Debo, wait 2 or 3 weeks. Get a better sample of what Kittle has been able to do, what Ayuk has been able to do in this newer 49ers offense before going out and trying to.
You also have Ayuk on this team, so I wouldn't be trying to trade for both Ayuk and Debo. I would rather have Ayuk moving forward, but hopefully you didn't do this deal. But again, even if you did, we'll figure out. The nice thing is that you're 7-2. And that you have a pretty stacked lineup other than that. So it's not like you have to hit this deal in order to.
And there's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity in all these pieces too. So this is not your final team either.
Pretty loaded team.
Yeah, it's a really loaded team. It's stacked, and you're in a league that makes trades, which is nice. So that you could keep these trades going. And I would encourage you to do that. Never get complacent. Even if you have a good team, who's the best kicker I could start? Who's the best defense I could start? Where could I make a little trade? All these ones coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Moving through, looking for the other questions in here. Tom Brady, pretty good. Stop it. Okay, fine. I will. All right. Moving through. Truly epic. Do it 420, man. Great to have you guys with us. Let's get through these comments here. Johnny
Jawline. That's another actually diamond. This is thing I do want to touch on too, real quick. On OBJ going to take.
This is a good insight.
Yes, this is great job, Jay, for bringing this up. Henderson, super fit. Like he's got 5 receiving touchdowns a year right now.
Wait, Henderson's got 5 receiving touchdowns?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
That's hard to bank on.
But and so yes, that is actually a huge point, and that Henderson moving forward could see a slight dip from that aspect of. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I want to say they're just showing his. Oh, hold on, I can go to sleeper. But yeah, he's got 7 total touchdowns, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when I did research that 5 of them were receiving touchdowns.
For Henderson,
yeah,
I'm looking at him right now. He's two receiving touchdowns.
Two.
5 rushing touchdowns. 5 rushing touchdowns. 2 receiving touchdowns.
There we go. I had flipped that around. You're right. But yeah, even still, 2 receiving touchdowns for Henderson. I think. Well, I think that's probably he maybe gets one more over the course of the rest of the season. But I think that is something to note too.
Slight impact in a negative direction.
Slight impact for Henderson's usage there.
Groggy style. Hey guys, what's up, Groggy? Got an RB dilemma. AJ Dillon or Nyheim Hines. Dillon seems safer, but may not exceed 10 points. Hines has higher upside, but feels riskier. I'd go Dillon.
Yeah, I'd probably go Dillon in this one. I think they probably both get about the same, to be honest with you.
And I'll tell you what, AJ Dillon has not hit his ceiling this year at all. Like he's got more ceiling than people think because he's getting like 10 plus carries. He's also more talented in the pass catching role than he gets credit for.
Oh my gosh,
Jones is so good.
Dude, he had a couple of really nice catches last week where I was like, oh wow, like he actually does have some hands. Like
I'm not surprised at all to see AJ Dillon get like one of those CJ Uzomah plays, a Nyheim Hines play, where he just catches it. The defense was a little sleepy and like he just takes it for a 60-yard touchdown. Like AJ Dillon hasn't done that yet, but he is fast enough, smart enough, quick enough, all that stuff, and he actually gets the opportunity. It wouldn't have to be like the stars lined up and then it happened. Like, no, he just needs a couple things to go his way and it hasn't gone yet. And I think the rule of probability would suggest that he's got a ceiling day coming up more soon than he does a floor day or a floor day minus, something like that. Yeah, so I like this one. Really good question, though.
Yeah, great question. Let's see. Going to fight through there's a lot. Appreciate all of you guys in here joining. If you give us a huge favor and hit a thumbs up on this video, really helps grow our channel, as well as hit that subscribe if you are new to our channel. Put out fantasy football content daily, do lives daily. It's all good. Yeah, all fun.
All fun. What do you think about Shaw's comment here? I like the 49ers schedules after the Rams, but what about when Lance becomes the starter? Do you think this is a for sure thing?
I think I'm more sold on it than Big Travie is. Big Travie doesn't think that's going to happen. I think it could be likely. But again, I would still rather, I mean, Ayuk is who I'm going to say. Like, I think it could hurt. Yes. But I think it could hurt this whole entire offense, but it could also, I also know that Kyle Shanahan schemes up these guys and he will give his guys certain look. Like he does that. Like he plans out all these plays and he has a guy in his mind and he'll be like, I'm going to get Ayuk 60% of the targets tonight. I'm going to give Debo 20. Like he has that in his mind and he works off of it no matter who the quarterback is. So like his offense schemes guys open. So that's why you don't have to be as accurate with the ball, but we'll see.
What about in Jersey J's question here? Would you take out Jerry Jeudy for Mark Ingram?
Probably would. I think that this one's so tough for me because I do not like the schedule I do not like the matchup for Jerry Jeudy. I really don't like it for Mark Ingram. They're going against Tennessee, who Tennessee has like really turned it around over the last 3 weeks and has been shutting down offenses. So, but I would probably go with the bank on what I do know. And the volume with Ingram should be there. So I'd probably roll with Ingram. But he did start Gaskin. So I think that, if I'm being honest about who has a higher ceiling, I think Jerry Jeudy has a higher ceiling. So you might have to roll with Jerry Jeudy now because of Gaskin having a
Ingram to have a ceiling day needs like 2 or 3 touchdowns. It's like one of those things because
I
he's
just
just
don't know
not
if
going to
he's
be a
gonna-
5 yards per carry type guy.
No, right. So
Yeah. Alexander Marquez, what's up, man? Who should I start? Gage versus Cowboys, Marvin Jones versus Colts, or Corey Davis versus Bills? I should accept the trade of Henry for Swift and D-Hop. Yeah, well, all have things we could and should have done, but we've got things that we can consider for the future, and that's where we're going to put our focus. Or is he asking,
should I? I think he's saying, should I accept the trade of? Oh no, he's saying he should have. Wait. Oh, back.
Got the sad face. So.
Oh, that was when Henry was.
Yeah, it must have been before the injury news. But for these future considerations, things that we actually got an opportunity to influence right now, who should I start? Gage versus Cowboys, Marvin Jones versus the Colts, or Corey Davis against the Bills this week?
I'd probably play Marvin Jones of these three.
Yeah, me too. He's been looking like it's like he's such an unsexy, reliable, decent fantasy piece. Like all the time too. I want to be like in Jacksonville. It's like that's how he was in Detroit.
Indianapolis corners have given up a lot of yardage, and they've given up a fair amount of touchdowns. So I feel the most confident with that matchup.
Yeah. All right. Here, you can't predict injury, says Ingle Fang. That's true. It's tough too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, right? You can certainly increase your chances of it. But let's increase Chosen Rose's chances of winning here, Johnny. Pick 2, Hunter Renfrow, Jerry Jeudy, Emmanuel Sanders, Tim Patrick, Christian Kirk, AJ Green.
I'm going Renfrow, and I'm probably going to go Jeudy in this one.
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
You don't like the matchup for Christian Kirk?
I don't like it if Colt McCoy's the quarterback.
Even after last week's good performance?
And no, I don't like the matchup. Carolina is actually top 3 against wide receivers. So I don't want to risk Kirk in my lineup this week.
I do like the upside he brings, but I hear what you're saying on this. Jersey J, okay, if Elliott is out and Pollard plays, that'd be nice for Pollard starters. Are you taking out McKissick? Part 2, are you starting Ingram over Jeudy if Kamara is out? Same with Pollard if Elliott's out. If Elliott's out, Pollard is like an auto start.
Yeah, so if Pollard is out, then and this would actually really help solve your issue. You kind of want to hope. I'm hoping that you get this because it would help you. I would go with McKissick and Pollard. If Zeke is out, those are the 2 I would play. If Zeke is still playing, I would probably go with McKissick and Jeudy still.
All right, Slim Reaper, jump in here, Whisper Nation. Love to have you with us. That's awesome. Slim's got a question. Which tight end do I start? Unicorn Pitts, the Muth, or Knox, who's coming back in Buffalo?
Ooh, this is one. I'm going with Pitts.
Me too.
Pitts has been getting wide receiver looks. What's actually really funny, I was reading this last night. Kyle Pitts, so far this season, he's had the most difficult schedule and cornerback matchups of any wide receiver. Not one has had a more difficult stretch than he has, and he's still doing what he's doing. He's good. He's blowing me away. I'll be honest. I didn't think he was going to be this good this fast. I understand like all the metrics. Like he's not tight end 1 right now or anything. By no stretch like that. But I'm saying like he's gonna be a boss. He's gonna
every
be
single
really
snap
good.
is a big learning lesson. He's just taking big strides. You love to see it.
Yeah.
We got to rate the handcuffs here. Pollard, Ingram, Wilson Jr. Pollard number 1. Who do you like more, Ingram or Wilson?
Ingram number 2, and then Wilson.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Yeah.
Chances of Allen Robinson making a comeback the rest of the year from Truly Epic.
I mean, not looking great.
I know, but this could happen. It can flip around. Like you could have Allen Robinson have a downward bit about it, and like don't be surprised. And all 150 yards and a touchdown for Allen Robinson. Like he'll
probably have a game like that.
You can't fall victim to like, oh, this guy's done now. He's just like he doesn't exist. He like he's gone. Like there's a lot of reasons why Allen Robinson has had a bad start to the year, and there's reasons to say that it would keep going. But if you drop him, like I get it, move on. But also you're keeping an eye out for him if you're the guy who didn't drop him, and you're hoping that maybe he pops and he's available on the waiver wire. Like,
yeah, I have no hope. I have zero.
That's a big shift. A month ago, you were saying, watch out for Allen Robinson. This dude's a talent. He's coming back around. And now you're like, you've seen enough.
Well, I said I didn't. I had more confidence in Fields throwing the ball a month ago.
Fair
That's
enough,
the
yeah.
problem. Like I've seen enough now. Like they're not going to help him throw. They're not scheming him plays in order to help him with his development. They're just going to run the ball, have him run around, and make things happen with his legs for now because they're not. They're not. His number one receiver is Mooney. That's the only guy that I'm relatively interested in for the Chicago Bears as far as pass catching goes. Is Mooney, because they have some kind of connection. They shower together. They probably live together. I don't know, but they have a connection according to all the data, and they talk about each other. And so, like, I'm not interested in any pass catchers realistically on the Bears at all. The only person I'm really interested here right now is David
Montgomery,
and that's it. Fields, I love watching him, but they're not helping him at all.
I'm excited just to see how that develops. There's probably a lot of shifts coming. Nagy's going to have to shift it, or we're going to get a shift in head coach, right? So
yeah, you got to hope.
Yeah, you do. Jacoby Myers, Jamison Crowder, Kenyon Drake, or Mark Ingram, Week 10 PPR.
PPR. This one's a little. Jacoby's going to get a lot of yardage. He'll get a solid amount of targets that could float you. So he's a very safe.
Bad week last week though.
Bad. Yeah,
he had one catch.
Yeah, last week was just a bad week of football for a lot of people. So I don't really look into it too much. Like this week, great matchup. Like their corners give up a lot of yardage. So I expect him to get a lot of usage. But as far as ceiling though, he doesn't quite have the ceiling of like Mark Ingram or even Kenyon Drake, to be honest with you. They're getting him like 6 targets a game. But ultimately, yeah, I'd probably still go with Jacoby. Doesn't sound as sexy, but safest floor. And then one of these times, I'm just telling, like, at some point, it's got to happen. He's got to get in the end zone at some point. Come on.
Point. I know, man. I've been watching it all year, hoping it is going to happen here too. Drake over Ingram with the Kamara news, or Ingram over Drake?
I go Ingram over Drake with the Kamara news.
Okay. Eagle Fang wants to know.
I believe Kamara is out. Yeah, Kamara is now out officially. So, yeah, I don't mind if you go with Ingram. I just don't. He's probably got the higher upside, but he's definitely got the lower floor because, again, Tennessee pretty stout lately against run and pass. So,
Eagle Fang, let's help him out. Drop Chuba for Ingram.
Yes.
I mean, that's that. Chuba's time is coming to an end. Ingram's time is looking like it's just starting.
Especially if you need them at the start this week and you don't have CMC, then I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Darrell Henderson or Elijah Mitchell this week?
Probably go Elijah.
That's where I'm going to.
Yeah.
Wentz against the Jags or Russell Wilson?
See, I would go Wentz in this case.
I would too. Wentz.
This is one of those cases where I'd be like, okay, I have another option where I'm comfortable starting and playing and seeing what Russ does in this matchup first, you know?
Yeah, Wentz is on fire right now, and T.Y. Hilton coming back is only going to help. Thoughts on Chiefs offense rest of season? I mean, we hope it picks up. It's probably going to I think it finishes better than it's going right now, but it's going to keep at this pace, I think, for a couple more weeks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they try to turn that around. Pat Mahomes is just really struggling with that Tampa 2 defense. Like he just can't. And I was also listening to someone that was reviewing the offense for Kansas City, and he was talking about how Pat Mahomes just has no trust in any receivers other than Tyreek or Kelsey. And so like he's like, oftentimes I'll be watching the replays, and it's not that, teams are playing the Tampa 2, but instead of Pat Mahomes trusting in a Mecole Hardman that's wide open on an underneath route, he's like, I will miss on that. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for, down the field, double coverage to Hill and see what happens. And it's not been working out. So it's almost like he's also lost faith in his receivers there. So I don't know. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on to sort out. I would say, though, we expect Clyde to come back in and perform better than Darrell Williams has, and expecting the same or even more volume. And Williams is getting over 18 touches per game. That going to Clyde would just be a solid play regardless of what he does with it, just based on volume alone, right? Like Clyde's coming back. You're starting Clyde. You're excited for that.
I mean, I'm not excited for Clyde. I'm worried.
You're not excited, but he's in your starting lineup, unless you obviously got somebody better. He's in your flex, maybe he's there, and like you have to be in a really luxurious position to not be starting Clyde.
Right. Yeah, most likely. I am concerned about usage coming. I mean, he was already losing goal line work to Williams, and then the change of pace. But this offense does move a little bit better when Clyde is in the game as opposed to just Darrell. So, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens down that.
We'll come back, and we'll be excited to watch that. Slim Reaper's asking, if Zach Moss doesn't play, should I release Khalil Herbert for a questionable Stevenson, or start one of Eno Benjamin, Kenneth Gainwell, or J.J. Taylor PPR? I don't think Stevenson plays this week.
Or start one of Eno, Gainwell, or J.J. Taylor. I would go Eno.
Me too.
And yeah, I'm okay dropping Herbert for Eno if you need to.
Anuna, what's good? Pittman
what's
or
up?
Terry this week? My wide receiver too.
Oh, it's scary Terry.
I like Terry off that bye, man.
Oh, again, against Tampa Bay's defense that's given up everything to wide receivers, and they're going to be back from behind. I like Scary Terry this week. Love Scary Terry this week.
Jersey J is going to give us his login info for my league, so you can just play for me. Yeah, we got if you go ahead and you subscribe to our Patreon at that level, we're gonna go. We'll go ahead and just jump into this one. No, man, that's pretty funny. Happy to help, Jay, and love having you here with us, rocking and rolling. Slim as well, man. Wants to know though, flex one, Ayuk, the Muth or Knox. We already touched on this one. We're going in that order, right?
Yeah, in that one.
Myers or Ayuk in the flex? Ayuk? Or PPR, are you going with, you think the perceived volume for Myers is going to overcome the tough matchup for Ayuk against Los Angeles?
I think that I think, again, Myers' safer floor doesn't nearly have the ceiling, though, of Ayuk, but because Ayuk can actually come down with a touchdown. But I'd probably most likely lean Myers, Jacoby in this one over Ayuk.
All right. I'm off of Jacoby until I see him do it. I just started him that first month and a half, and I'm just like, I'm done. And I've been rewarded every time I've sat Jacoby. So I'm coming at a little bit of an emotional perspective.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, I've been playing him in Scott Fishbowl, and he's been killing it in PPR. Like Jacoby? PPR league. Yeah. He gets you 15 points every week. The last obviously he had a down week, but
wide receiver 36 in PPR, and he hasn't had his bye yet. So, yeah,
but he's solid. Look at his points per game.
Back end wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's solid. Again, you go for this solid stuff. Again, Ayuk has been struggling. How often has Ayuk gotten you top? Exactly. You go with you play matchups. You play matchups, and you go with what dictates. I understand. The upside is not there for Myers.
I feel you. But it is.
Go with what's safe.
It is more solid. I feel you on this one. What y'all think? The Saints being so quiet about Kamara's injury, him not practicing Friday, should be concerning, right? Yeah, he's out. It is concerning. These sneaky injuries that then keep people off the field. Yeah, they are certainly a little bit concerning. Yes. Because just a truly epic. Says next thing we hear, Kamara and IR out for the year. Same as the Todd Gurley situation. It could be. We're not pegging that. We're not predicting that. But that's the concerning thing about these quiet injuries that then keep people out. It's just and you're Derrick Henry and you're done for 6 to 10 weeks. Or whoever you are, pick one. So, all right, Blue Crew here, half point PPR 2, pick 2. Elijah Mitchell, DeAndre Swift, Ernest Johnson, or Ingram. Not Ingram.
I'm going Swift and Johnson.
I am too. All right. Oh man, Jersey J, appreciate you with the push here. Sign up, you're not Patriots worth it. You're new or just a regular. But thank you for the shout out on this.
Yeah, appreciate
Jay.
this.
Loved having you sign up, and just a little bit of information on what you get when you do sign up there at that $10 level. You get automatically entered every month into our signed jersey giveaway. This month it is Joe Mixon. Last month it was Damian Harris, Keenan Allen before that. Automatic enter. New signed jersey giveaway every single month. We do it on the Monday reaction show. And I say this too, there's not a whole lot of people. Start of the month. There's not a lot of people subscribing at that $10 level. So you have really, really good odds. And over the course of a year, chances say you will actually win that, which means you could get a signed autographed jersey for less than $120, which is a straight up financial deal. And then you also get the bonus content that comes your way. You get the added drawings for sports card giveaways and some really other good stuff. So we do our best to make sure subscribing at that level is well worth it. And we just thank everybody for being a part of it. It's the best part of our day, getting to connect with all y'all. Can I drop Claypool? Asked James Martin. And this is our last question. Oh, Slim. Okay, Slim. Sorry for missing your Chiefs comment. I'll go take a look back on this one. James wants to know, can I drop Claypool? Johnny, what do you think?
If you need to, I don't know. I don't think it's a severe injury to where he's going to, but yeah, I mean, you can drop him. You could drop him.
You could, yeah.
He's not doing anything. They're not going to involve him a whole lot. Like, it's not like he's got upside. He's got upside, but yeah.
All he's got is upside right now. I expected Claypool to have upside and then floor, especially with Juju coming out. But because of Ben's regression and Freiermuth's uptick and just the diversity of available options, like Claypool's floor is a lot lower than I wish it was. Andy Reid, after a bye in December, has a crazy record of something like 66-25. Chiefs will be fine.
Yeah, I do know that
correlation.
Yeah, this was a pretty good one, but yeah.
Reid's
but they're also like really good in September as well, and they didn't play as well this year in September. We'll see again. Yeah, teams start to get injuries, and then so hopefully they can figure it out. Andy Reid is really good about not waiting or not panicking and being able to write out ships. So again, we'll keep monitoring the situation, but it's definitely not what we've seen. Speaking of jersey, I'm still waiting. It's in the mail. It's mailed it off, so hopefully it should be there. Should be getting it actually today, if I'm not mistaken.
Hopefully you get it before the weekend, but it's all the way here soon.
That'd be good.
And let us know if it's not here for you at the top of next week. We'll make
sure let me know. I have the tracking number and I can look it up for sure.
Well, we've been tracking all the news and notes, and we are through with all of those, Johnny. We've gotten all the way through all of the questions. Whisper Nation, great questions, great comments. Great to have you with us on this Friday afternoon.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you guys so much. Mostly from his Eagles days, says Roddle. That's true. Well, I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out, and we're going to be with you, Whisper Nation, throughout the entire season. So hit us with that like, hit us with that subscribe. Go ahead and follow us on Patreon, catch that bonus content, get access to the exclusive Discord channels. Johnny and Jersey J, Mr. Miyagi, we're having a good time shooting it back and forth over there. Johnny, it's been a good end of the week. Anything else you'd like to let Whisper Nation know before we head on out?
Just have a wonderful weekend. If you have any questions, you're watching this later, just DM us. We'll try to do our best to get to those questions. And Sunday morning. The next night? Sunday morning, 90 minutes before kickoff. We will be live, so make
8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
Yeah, one more question, Jared. This will be the last one.
Yes.
Go for it. Was that the question, though? Because that technically is a question.
Yeah.
Can you ask a question? You did, and that's it. And then we're done.
We're out.
And we're out. No, I've imagined that he's typing, so I'll give I'll give a drawn out goodbye to the rest of Whisper Nation. And if we don't get your question in here, Jared, you can always hit us up on Instagram. We always check our DMs. Or Discord. Yeah. Yes, go to the Discord. You got the support of Whisper Nation that's coming in there as well.
All right.
Here we go. Need to pick up Gage for wide receiver. Who do I drop? Gronk, Adrian Peterson, Alexander Madison, or Mark Ingram? First off, why do you?
Yeah, why do you have to pick up Gage? But yeah, I guess if you have to drop one of those, I'd probably drop AP if you have to drop one of them.
I think AP is going to be the piece that's going to get work, but 2-something yards per carry. I don't think that's going to be a big shift. I think Deontay Foreman gets more work moving forward in Tennessee too. Like, I get it's a fun name and you hope for more. I just don't see it working out in the way it could work out for the other pieces here.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, he's saying all my other wide receivers.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah,
that would be our recommendation.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Until next time, Whisper Nation, you have a good weekend.
You have a good weekend. I'm Austin Sear. That's Johnny Game Time Hicks. We're the Fantasy Whispers. We'll see you next time, y'all. Peace.
Right here.
Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community, head on over to our Discord chat. Link is in the description below. And if you're still not sold on us, check out one of these videos.